Tonight at 6. Live team coverage on the coastal crisis.
Officials acknowledge for the first time that oil could soon go west of the Mississippi River.
We'll take you in the middle of an oil sheen miles off the coast.
Plus, remembering Ed Buggs, the man who broke the color barrier in Baton Rouge broadcasting.
How far have blacks and whites really come in terms of learning to live with one another?
First in local HD news, Louisiana's News Channel brings you 9 News at 6.
I've lost him, but I haven't.
Family and friends remember an aggressive TV and radio personality known for his motto, with a mic and a mission. Good evening, I'm George Sells.
And I'm Donna Britt. We'll have much more on the sudden death of Ed Buggs. But first, the latest on the coastal crisis. The newest map shows oil moving inland, and it's spreading out. This Google map shows oil nearly covering the Chandeleur Islands and inching ever so closely to St. Bernard Parish and Biloxi. Today was a day of progress and problems. This 75-ton concrete and steel dome is on its way to the rig site in the Gulf. BP hopes this device will be a saving grace, putting an end to the massive oil leak, now gushing about 200,000 gallons a day.
It'll actually seal over the leak, and then we'll engineer piping that goes up to a barge, and we'll be able to funnel that oil that's escaping now.
50 miles off the coast, remote control machines are preparing the ocean floor for the placement of that 4-story structure 5,000 feet below the oily surface. BP expects to start containing the oil flow inside the dome tomorrow. Saturday, it'll begin pumping that oil to the surface. Now, for the problems. Officials acknowledge for the first time that oil could be moving west of the Mississippi. Governor Jindal says we're looking at oil possibly reaching areas at Barataria Basin. A river pilot this morning reported thick oil 7 miles out from the Southwest Pass. That's the main shipping channel of the Mississippi River. The Coast Guard says 2 controlled burns got underway today. Boats kind of swept the sometimes scattered oil inside a boom, and then the collected mass of oil was set afire.
Well, meanwhile, WAFB's David Spunt ventured 15 miles from land due east of South Pass. After what amounted to a 90-mile round trip, half of it in open ocean waters, David continues our coverage this evening from Venice.
Good evening, George. You know, we have heard about this oil for weeks now, it seems, and we really haven't had a chance, our 9 News crews, to get up close and look at it. That's why we went out today with a charter boat captain to go see what it looked like. As you mentioned, we went 15 miles due east of the South Pass near Pasalutra. We saw some light sheens of oil, wasn't too heavy, was not that thick crude that you're used to thinking about when you think of oil, but it was light sheens of oil. At one point even I stuck a white rag, a brand new bleach white rag, into the water and came out, and you could see a little bit of dark residue on there. So as far as animals were concerned, you did see some animals swimming around, didn't seem to be too affected. We did go with a captain who's been trolling these waters for years now. Here's what he had to say after he saw the oil.
Any damage is too much, but it can be worse, and I'm sure it will be worse before it's over, but as of today, it looks positive.
Coming up tonight at 10, I'll have more with Captain Jeff Johnson, including more of those images of that oil and how close it's coming. I did just get off the phone with the Coast Guard. They said they are planning, if it's nice tomorrow like it was today, to have some more controlled burns to help burn off some of that oil. Send it back to you, George.
Looks like a lot of progress. Okay, thanks, David Spunt in Venice.
Another wildlife victim was rescued off the coast. This brown pelican was found Monday on Storm Island just east of Venice, covered in oil. The bird's being cared for and fed by Tri-State Bird Rescue. The group has set up shop at Fort Jackson in Plaquemines Parish to handle just this type of situation.
If birds are oiled on their bellies and they take it to their nests, it can get on eggs and kill the eggs or the young.
Officials with the U.S. Fish and Wildlife Service caution that thousands of wildlife are in danger from oil spewing into the Gulf. For the very latest on this coastal crisis anytime, log on to WAFB.com. We will have much more for you tonight on 9 News at 10 as well. Baton Rouge is mourning the loss of a major player tonight, Ed Buggs.
Buggs changed the face of broadcasting in Baton Rouge in the 1980s, becoming the first major black male anchor in the city. Sheriff's deputies found Ed Buggs face down on his couch. A business partner couldn't get a hold of him and was concerned, so he went by the house. The family believes Buggs died of a heart attack. An official autopsy was being done this afternoon. WAFB's Greg Merriweather takes a look back at Ed Buggs' career, the ups and downs.
Oh, no, Ed?
Yeah.
He's going to be going, all in prison.
Ed Buggs' journalism career reads like a well-written novel. Plenty of unique stories, a bit of drama along the way, a few twists and turns, but it's perhaps the unexpected ending that's left his family and friends with heavy hearts.
One of those brotherly connection.
Ed's brother Clarence, a popular broadcaster in his own right, says he's at peace, just having had Ed around as long as he did.
I've lost him, but I haven't. In that I will take a part of him with me everywhere I go, every day for the rest of my life.
Where I'm standing right now was a virtual no man's zone just a couple of days ago. By that I mean...
Ed Buggs did a lot in his career, a lot of things that just hadn't been done before. He was the most successful black journalist in Baton Rouge at the time, and Buggs made his mark in broadcasting at Channel 2. He started there while he was in college. He made it all the way to the anchor desks. That's where he sat alongside Andrea Clessy for many years.
In the news business, when you co-anchor with someone, they really become, we jokingly used to say, like, he was my anchor husband and I was his wife, you know, friend, you know, because you become partners in what you do together, and you get very close to these people. You know much about their lives and they know much about yours, and he was just a fun, loving, very bright, intelligent man.
They have no idea what they're walking into. There are no communications there. None.
As I write this story, I believe the Ed we knew would remind me to keep the story fair but tough. With that said, Ed's life wasn't always rosy. A bout with drug addiction almost ruined him.
What was his mindset there? Did he turn to God in that? Is that how he got over it?
Oddly enough, I confronted him about it when it got to the point to where I could no longer ignore it. And funny you should ask it that way, because one of the things that I tried to hammer home at the time was, where is your God in the midst of these trials?
Clarence says Ed put his problems behind him some time ago, and that this is the happiest he'd seen him in quite some time.
He had long since passed that point, and had begun again for quite some time now to revel in the fact that God had his hands around him, had his arms of protection around him. But I could not think nor hope for a better person to be my brother than Ed Buggs Jr.
Greg Murray, WAFB 9 News.
So talented was Ed that he left for the big time in Dallas for a time, but returned to his home ground, Scotlandville.
Yeah, and our Tiana Williams just returned from Scotlandville, where people say they've just lost one of their sons.
Yeah, a lot of folks there are saying that friendly, unmistakable voice is now gone. Many say Ed Buggs commanded attention, whether he was telling a joke, breaking big stories, or he just wanted to tell you what was on his mind.
I'm just really shocked.
Ed Buggs was one of those guys who could stir up conversation.
What you're about to see makes it clear.
Whether you agreed with him or not, he could get people talking. And even in his death, he's still the center of conversation.
Because sometimes we both would talk about the fact that we lost our hair at such an early age.
Mayor Kip Holden not only worked with Buggs, he says the man was a major player in the media industry.
But when he came back to Baton Rouge, I mean, it was really a breaking point in terms of a black anchor on television here. So he broke the color barrier.
But how far have blacks and whites really come in terms of learning to live with one another?
Before Buggs switched to radio, he was the city's first black male anchor on Channel 2.
This is the second stop of the day for us.
For a short time, he helped out with Hurricane Katrina coverage here on WAFB.
Listening to Ed or Clarence sort of calmed us down. You know, we sort of knew we was talking to somebody or hearing somebody we knew.
Lionel Coleman bought Sarge's, Ed's father's business, 23 years ago. He says Ed would pop up from time to check on the old store.
I always remember his smile. He always came in, he gave you that, that good confident look and a firm handshake, and how you doing there, sir?
The one thing you'll hear from just about everybody, Ed Buggs represented success, despite his own personal battles.
Because even though you may have a stumble or two, he never held his head down.
Mayor Holden says maybe that's what Bugs' legacy will be, to keep pushing for better things.
The void will be if Ed Bugs' life is in vain by people who do not follow the example that he set to improve the quality of life for everybody.
Again, the exact cause of death has not been confirmed by pathologists. Family members do believe Bugs died from a massive heart attack. Ed Bugs was 55 years old. Donna.
So young, Tiana. You can find much more on Ed Bugs' life and career on WAFB.com. And while you're there, share some of your memories. We have a comment section.